Hey guys, and welcome back to the show. In this episode, I'm introducing a new series that I'm calling Hosting the Host. And it's a series in where I interview other YouTubers that have watch channels to introduce them to you. And so we have an opportunity to get to know the people behind some of the channels that we really love just a little bit better. Huge thank you to KDP Ross, which is going to be the guinea pig, the first interview. And he's a fantastic sport, and I really hope you guys enjoy this. So don't go anywhere. First episode of Hosting the Host is coming up right after this. Wristwatch check. What are you wearing?
What am I
are
wearing?
you wearing?
So today, let's see, this is a funny camera. I happen to be wearing my little open heart pullover, and it's on a new leather strap that arrived this morning that I really am liking it on. Here, I'll give a shot to the other camera as well.
But the color looks great. That's the one, it's the same combo you put on Instagram?
That's the one I put on Instagram earlier today, and it was just a leather strap I happened to run across. Somebody had left a comment. I can't remember if it was on the Facebook group or on one of the videos. It was on YouTube somewhere. I don't know if it was on my video or someone else's, but saying to all of us who have the NATO obsession that, get some, bloody leather straps and put them on your dress pieces and try it out. Not quite as nice a voice, but I thought, yeah, I'll give it a go. And it's just really comfortable. And I think a 24 mil NATO strap is just too wide. And this tapers a bit, and so it's a lot more comfortable. And I think it looks quite a lot better, I have to admit, finally.
All right, so we're going to jump right into the interview. First, thank you so much for participating. I really appreciate it. It's a little bit daunting.
My pleasure.
So,
it's good to be here.
Thank you. Thank you. So I'll get right into the first question, okay?
All right.
Which is, family or very close friends know about your channel? Like, do you tell them?
I don't usually sort of advertise it. It comes up, just in conversation that I have a YouTube channel and so on, and people will ask what's it about, and I'm certainly not shy about telling them. And usually when I say watches and stuff like that, then they lose interest. Occasionally somebody will say, oh, can you give me the URL? I ran into some friends randomly over the weekend, and they said, oh, I didn't know that you'd started the channel. Can you let me have a look? And I don't know if they followed up and watched the videos or whatever, but they seemed excited about it. And my parents, of course, keep asking if I can send them links to the videos when I post them. And I've tried to explain that you can subscribe, and then you'll get notified when videos get posted, and then you don't need me to send it to you, because that's not particularly scalable, and I don't know which videos they want to see. So,
are you not going to text everybody, Ross? I mean, I would really like for you to just text me from now on.
Well, I'll see what I can do about that. So yeah, it's just been a matter of when it's come up and people have expressed interest, then I'll point them to it. And otherwise, I feel a bit sort of self-indulgent saying, oh, hey, come watch my videos. And, I don't want them to feel obliged to sit through 40 minutes talking about movements or about dial color choices or about which straps I'm putting on or something like that.
Yeah. So that kind of leads me into my next question, which is, what does or do your closest family think of it?
They, are kind of intrigued. And then, of course, they ask the question of, why are you doing this? And I said, oh, well, it's a good bit of fun. It keeps me out of too much trouble. And it's a way to share a passion that I have with other people who are interested in the same thing.
Do you make a conscious effort to appreciate pieces at all price ranges? Because you're one of the few people that does. And how do you avoid being a classic watch snob?
Well, in answer to the first part of the question, do I make an effort consciously? No. I just like what I like, and I poke around, and I see some things that I like. And I've recently been looking at kind of smaller brands that I know nothing about. And in certain cases, you can just tell looking at them, this is an expensive watch. or you can tell this is going to be a lower price point watch. But there are a lot of other things where immediately looking, it's not totally obvious. And those are the ones I find really intriguing, because I'm actually, for once, able to look at a watch in the way that one would taste wine blind and just see it on its own merits. I sort of just fell into getting a few vintage pieces because there was a watch, my old Longines that I saw on eBay, and it had been on there forever. And I thought, oh, that's such a pretty watch. And it had been relisted over and over and over again. And I thought, it deserves to have a nice home. And I decided finally, okay, I'll put in a bid and adopt it. So now it's here with me. And the second part of
So
the question,
you're fostering them.
well, I mean, I've mentioned this a little bit on a couple of videos on my channel, but I haven't really talked about this explicitly. I see us as stewards of our watches. The Longines is a lot older than I am, and it's probably still going to be running after I'm gone. And I think this is the case with most of the better watches that we have, that they're going to outlast us and, you know, our children and grandchildren. And so we get to enjoy them for a while, and then somebody else has to take over. And I feel really privileged to be able to do that for a number of the watches that I have. And I've completely forgot the second part of the question.
Okay. How do you avoid being a classic watch snob?
Well, I guess it's just not really in my nature or my temperament. I see a certain arbitrariness in our preferences about things. To take a completely different domain, I pretty much only eat vanilla ice cream when I'm having ice cream. I have tried chocolate a bunch of times, and it's just not chocolatey enough. Otherwise, it couldn't be ice cream. And I try more exotic flavors like Earl Grey or strawberry balsamic or something, and they're nice, but I always find myself going back to vanilla. And I can see that that's just a completely random function of, I guess, my genes, and based on a podcast I was listening to earlier today, the foods I was fed when I was young, and so on. And that other people have different ice cream preferences. And although in kind of the world that I live in, vanilla is absolutely the best, in other people's worlds, different things are better for them. And so, you know, in the same way as art preferences are kind of arbitrary, and you can't really say that there's good art or bad art except relative to a set of assumptions or relative to a point of view, there are watches that I like that a lot of other people don't like. The Dietrich OTs are among them, right? There's a lot of people who really don't like that design and just don't get it. I happen to love that watch. And then there are a lot of, on the other hand, watches that, you know, everyone likes and maybe don't work for me. So I think that there's kind of room for everybody, and that you know, we each have different goals in collecting watches and wearing watches, and that just saying get these 4 watches to everybody, one gets a bit repetitive, and 2 isn't serving the interests of the people that you're giving that advice to.
What I like about the mantra or your frame of mind with that is that I think you do a really good job of what most people don't. But unfortunately, I think so many people either hear a certain opinion quite a lot and they've adopted it, but then somewhere in there, they confuse it for being factual. Well, and I think that's where it gets dangerous.
That brings up a couple of things for me. One, I think part of it may be that happens when people aren't confident in their own opinions, when they're not willing to say, this is my point of view, and they just sort of repeat something that they read somewhere or that they heard on a video from, you know, so-called experts. And the other thing is, I guess my reaction when I see somebody who has a different perspective, and there's kind of a lot of reasons for this, I suppose, isn't one of us is right and one of us is wrong, but what does this person believe that leads them to think that? Or what are we seeing differently that leads me to this conclusion and leads this other person to this other conclusion?
I think that that portion of trying to understand people's perspective is where it gets a little bit lost. You know,
Well,
because
perhaps.
obviously what you're, yeah, obviously what you might be measuring or looking for in a piece in any given price range might be different than what anybody else is looking for, which
Mhm.
means you're going to arrive at a different solution. It doesn't mean the problem or the variables you used were wrong. It just means that they were just that. They were variables, so they were different,
You had a
you
different
know?
starting point.
Exactly. Exactly. All right. So this next one's kind of fun. If you could collaborate on a new piece, what brand would you choose and why?
So I lost you there a little bit in the middle, but I think you were asking if I wanted to collaborate on a piece, which brand would it be with, and sort of why that's the case.
Yeah, with
Yeah.
any brand. And I know you know tons of brands, big brands, micro
Ooh.
brands. Who would you go with? You can pick only one and they'll accept it.
Okay. Well, it's an interesting question for a number of reasons. And if I start going into that, I'll just be stalling. But let's see. Um, so I guess I guess one obvious choice would be Rolex. I happened to be watching a video, TGV's video about Rolex earlier today. But the reason I think it's an interesting choice is a number of things. One, they are really heavily vertically integrated and pretty much can do anything in-house, which is kind of cool. You know, from smelting gold to making all of the bits to assembly to quality control and so on. Two, they have a really high standard that they set for themselves in terms of the quality of what they put out and in terms of you know, the reliability and the finishing and just everything. And three, I think it would be a lot of fun because Rolex are very conservative. And I think it would be fun to sort of shove something through Rolex that's a little bit more daring, knowing that the advertising budget that they have and the brand recognition that they have would put it in front of a lot of people who probably wouldn't consider it if I went with a smaller brand. In terms of what kind of watch it would be, I'm not really sure. I think what would be kind of fun is to bring some kind of complication back to Rolex. You know, I find myself gravitating towards the most useless complications that there are. Things like the equation of time, or you know, flying seconds or something like that. But at the same time, you don't want to make this kind of Franken watch that has every complication you can think of and is huge and isn't actually a good looking watch. So I think that starting with a kind of crazy idea and having the designers from Rolex on board would be a lot of fun.
Okay, so here's a fun question. And I actually think that of everyone that I'd like to interview, you will give this question more thought than anyone else. This is
All
just
right.
based on what I know about you. Okay. What characteristic would you associate with a man that wears a wristwatch versus a man that doesn't?
Oh, interesting. Well, I guess I can't really say anything about anyone else. I can only speak to my own experience and the difference that I feel. Um, I feel more connected to kind of tradition of engineering and of timekeeping and so on when I wear a watch. I find myself less distracted because I'm not pulling out my phone nearly as much, and I just I really enjoy it. You know, I've mentioned on videos before that I find myself sometimes spaced out with my watch next to my ear, just listening to it. And so I guess if I had to extrapolate from my experience, which I'm a bit reluctant to do, I, knowing nothing else, would assume that the person wearing the watch pays more attention to details and um, yeah, has something to say about their feelings and connection to engineering and um, tradition.
That's good. I like it. I am a little bit judgmental in that regard. Not like in a bad way, but it's just most of the people that I work with, it seems, if the younger guys don't wear watches,
Hmm.
and I've got that down to 50%. So I've got the other half of them in a watch. Um,
Nice.
and the rest of them are now starting to ask, well, I think maybe I'll try one. I'm like, well, that's cool. I'm gonna bring some for you tomorrow, and you just wear it for the day. I was like, and if nothing else, this way you know exactly when it's time to go home.
Well,
So
or at worst, you know why you don't like wearing it.
exactly. Because most of them, they do rely on their phone,
Mhm.
um, which I get. I'm probably gonna start to try to do that with this date crippling issue that I have on my watches, because it really is ruining my groove, I think, in terms of options.
Well, you've got
But
two
all right.
wrists.
You know what? You should see the look I get from my wife on the rare occasions that I have worn one on each wrist. She's like, really?
I,
Really?
I've done it a few times, and the looks that you get from people are, yeah, the looks that they give to crazy people.
Yeah, exactly. She's like, I don't under, are you running a Fortune 500 company? She's like, are you managing the war? I'm like, I mean, listen, anytime we take all of us anywhere in public, yes, I feel like I am managing a war. So, all right, so this next question, do you have do you have an ultimate vision for your channel? And if so, what is it? Right? Because I've noticed it's, what I like about it is that there is a lot of variety
Mhm.
in what you might be talking about.
It's a bit like the question of where do you see yourself in 10 years?
Yeah.
And my slightly cheeky answer to that question is basically where I am now, enjoying life. Um, the particulars are going to be different. The circumstances and situations will be different, but um, the stuff that matters is sort of even and doesn't really change that much. To the actual question, where do I see the channel going, and do I have a vision for it? Not really. I've been having a lot of fun with it, and I hope to continue doing that. Um, I sort of had envisioned when I started it that it would be exclusively about watches, and things have come up about EDC, and I got a request to do a video about my pen collection, and I've thrown together random videos about places I've traveled, and I'll probably continue doing that. Um, since it's a hobby for me, uh, although I do care about the viewers, I am willing sometimes just to do a video that nobody's going to watch just because I think it's cool.
Yep.
And so I plan to continue doing stuff that relates to watches, which is sort of the core of what the channel's about, but also about just other stuff that sort of catches my fancy.
So that leads me to the next question. What are your top three favorite watch channels? Not counting, it can't include this fantastic one that's hosting you for this interview. So top three, not counting AWC channel.
Whew. Well, it's always a bit tempting to be biased towards things that I've seen recently, and so I guess I'll sort of contextualize the answer by saying that. But uh, I recently watched a video where Andy Hunter was singing about Vostocks, and that was amazing. I
I
posted a
did watch
comment. I posted a comment on his video that just said more singing about watch videos because that was amazing. So I really enjoyed that. Um, I've really been enjoying Bruce Williams's videos. He has a very calm way of speaking about things, and I really like his reviews of watches. And um, let's see, I'm trying not to go with the big ones.
that.
Um, I really like Ryan's channel, Timepiece Addict. His reviews are really great, and he also is sort of spanning a pretty wide range from the SKXs through the Panerais and the JLCs.
Yeah, that Panerai. Oof, that was nice.
That's a great looking watch. I saw it in person, and
Mhm.
it's really lovely. And
What? When did you get to see? Is he near you? Does he live
yeah,
near you?
he's in the area. He's yeah, around us.
Very jealous now.
So I happened to be able to see that one night.
The second I saw it, I was like, I
It
must
happens.
have one of these. Oh,
Yeah,
it's dangerous,
or
dangerous,
at
dangerous.
least tell me more.
Yeah, yeah. I think I might be at least 10 of the views on the view count for that video.
I always
Because
wonder how that works. Like, do we count for multiple views if we're the same viewer or not?
it
Because
does.
there's a particular video that I have watched. I don't know how many times. It's a music video. It's just a guy playing recorder, and it has something like 70 or 80 views, and I must be at least 40 of them then.
Oh, so that's a good question. Do you watch your videos? Like when you've uploaded it, do you kind of sanity check watch it
I
before it
do.
gets released?
I do. Um, I usually watch it before I upload it, um, just to check that I haven't made any really glaring editing errors. I'll watch it at 1.5 speed or something like that, just to see that there's not a big gap of 3 minutes or something like that, because I failed to notice that when I was editing. And once I have it uploaded, I'll watch it again. Um, Not all the way through. Usually, I'll skip around a little bit, but just to be sure that it looks okay, and just to be sure that I'm not posting something that's completely ridiculous.
I haven't seen anything that's completely ridiculous on your
Well,
channel.
those got taken
So
down.
where's
it's
the bloopers reel? When are you going to upload a bloopers reel?
I should do that one of these days. There's that screen cap that somebody posted on TGV's group on Facebook with the caption "Simply Ghastly," and he's making this ridiculous face. And we all do that, of course, if you take still frames from enough videos. And there are just times when some part of my hair is hanging out, or I have some. I have a couple of them with a microphone. I didn't set the stand properly, and it just starts drooping further and further and further into the frame. And it's, I only notice when it comes in front of my eyes, and then realize, oh, there's this big fuzzy black thing in front of my face that's been probably there for 4 minutes, and I'd probably better reshoot that.
Yeah, I think bloopers reels are fun, and my wife kind of asked me like, "Oh, why don't you put some of your like a few of my blooper reels are actually funny, right? Because I
Yeah.
have I have if I'm completely honest, I have a little bit of a nasty temper, right? And when I'm shooting my videos, I'm working with a very small gap of time, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm either sneaking out to like the backyard or the bedroom right when I got home with the boys. I've distracted them with food and television, and I have maybe a 10-minute window before they realize that I'm not in the room.
See through the
And then
ruse.
they'll start yelling for me. So that's normally like me yelling at somebody to shut up, or like it's not something that you want to hear. And then if I have to shoot any like video where it's not just audio,
Hmm.
I have to wait till they've gone to bed. And by that time, depending on when I've shot it, it's already pretty late, and my
Mm-hmm.
alarm goes off in the morning at 3:30 a.m. So
Oh,
I have to
wow.
so I have to try not to get to bed too late. And if I also have to edit the video that evening for a next release or whatever, any little thing, like I will get super agitated if I try to shoot the video and cat comes flying across and knocks over the stand. So my blooper reels are normally like a lot of bad words in Spanish, or just like, can I get 5 minutes, damn it, it's not
Yeah,
pretty.
yeah. There are always interruptions. When I shoot in one of the other rooms, our refrigerator is the loudest machine I have ever heard, and it just unexpectedly starts making loads of noise, or my neighbors start playing music, and I can't really hear the music, but the bass sort of leaks into the recording. And as I think I mentioned to you before, but I don't think I mentioned on the channel, there is a tram that runs just past the house. And so it shakes the house and it makes a bunch of noise. And so there is a lot of video of me saying words that I don't usually say on my channel about how much I hate trains and how I wish they would just go away. And then of course the rest of the bloopers are just me saying stupid things. I haven't done this, but it's things like I'm doing a review of the turtle and I've been saying SKX for the last 20 minutes, or I'm talking about a watch and I'm holding the wrong one, or I'm saying something about a different strap that I'm actually wearing, or something like that.
I know what I'm getting you for your birthday, so I need you to tell me when your birthday is, because I have a really nice train set in mind
Oh,
for
no.
you. And because it's a gift, I'm going to expect that you keep it.
Well, lucky for me, I canceled my birthday a bunch of years back, so I don't have them anymore.
Thank you so much
Oh,
for
my
being
pleasure.
patient, for being awesome.
This is good fun.
All right, thanks, KDP. Have a good evening, and I will chat with you tomorrow.
My pleasure. You too, and I'll talk to you then.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed that. Again, a huge thank you to KDP Ross for participating and bearing with me through some technical difficulties. If you enjoyed that, please be sure to let me know in the comments section below. Don't forget to like the video and definitely check out his channel. As always, if this is your first time here, don't forget to subscribe for more videos like this. That's it for this one. CG out.